In the vast expanse of the galaxy, where countless species thrived and interstellar politics was a delicate dance, there was a well-known but rarely spoken rule: never cross a human. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with activity. Representatives from a myriad of planets had gathered to discuss a critical issue: the recent skirmishes on the fringe worlds. At the heart of the debate stood Scylla, a towering, multi-limbed warrior from the planet Krager. His reputation as a fierce leader was second to none, and his disdain for humans was well known. "They are a menace," Scylla thundered, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "Their presence on our borders threatens the stability of our entire region. We must take decisive action." From the shadows, a lone figure observed the proceedings with keen interest. Captain Sarah Carter of the United Earth Fleet had been sent to represent humanity's interests. She was not imposing by physical stature, but her presence carried an undeniable weight. "Representative Seller," Sarah began, her voice calm yet firm, "humanity has only ever sought peaceful coexistence. Any actions we've taken have been in defense of our colonies and allies. We are not the aggressors here." Seller sneered, his eyes narrowing. "Peaceful coexistence. Your kind is nothing but a plague, spreading across the galaxy without regard for the existing order." Sarah met his gaze without flinching. "Be careful with your accusations, Scylla. Humanity may be new to the galactic stage, but we are not weak. Underestimating us would be a grave mistake." The chamber fell silent. The tension between the two representatives was palpable. After a moment, the council's moderator, a serene being from the planet Lyra named Ilara, intervened. "We must approach this matter with diplomacy," Ilara said. "Both sides have valid concerns, and it is our duty to find a resolution that ensures peace and stability." As the discussions continued, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The reports of skirmishes were too frequent, too coordinated. Someone was orchestrating these conflicts, and she had a hunch that Seller was more involved than he let on. Later that evening, Sarah slipped out of the council chambers and made her way to the lower levels of the capital city. She had arranged to meet with an informant who claimed to have information about the true instigators of the skirmishes. In a dimly lit alley, she found her contact, a jittery Seren named Jax. "Captain Carter," he whispered, glancing nervously around, "I have the information you seek. The Kragorians are behind the attacks. They are trying to destabilize the region, to expand their territory." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "And why should I believe you?" Jax swallowed hard. "Because I have proof." He handed her a data chip. "This contains intercepted communications between Seller and his generals. They are planning a full-scale invasion." Back in her quarters, Sarah analyzed the data. The evidence was damning. Seller was indeed orchestrating the skirmishes, using them as a pretext to launch a larger campaign. She knew she had to act swiftly. The next day, Sarah presented her findings to the council. "Honorable representatives," she began, "I have undeniable proof that the Kragorians, under Seller's command, are behind the recent skirmishes. They intend to use this chaos to justify an invasion." Seller's reaction was immediate and furious. "Lies! This is a fabrication. Humans cannot be trusted." But Inara, after reviewing the evidence, silenced him with a raised hand. "These are serious accusations, Scylla. The evidence will be thoroughly examined. If true, this council will not tolerate such treachery." Scylla's eyes burned with rage, but he knew he was cornered. The chamber's security forces moved in to detain him. As Stellar was escorted out, he turned to Sarah, his expression a mix of hatred and grudging respect. "You may have won this round, human, But this isn't over. Sarah met his gaze evenly. You don't want to cross a human, Siller. We fight for what we believe in, and we don't back down. With Siller's plans exposed, the skirmishes ceased, and the region slowly returned to peace. The Council recognized humanity's resolve and the importance of their role in the galaxy. Sarah Carter became a symbol of human tenacity and courage. The story of how she stood up to a galactic warmonger spread far and wide, cementing the unspoken rule. You don't want to cross a human. The aftermath of Seller's exposure left the Galactic Council in a state of cautious vigilance. The Kregorians were disgraced, and their planned invasion was thwarted. But peace in the galaxy was always a fragile thing, and Captain Sarah Carter knew that the threat from Sailor and his allies hadn't been completely eliminated. Back on the United Earth Fleet's flagship, the Aegis, Sarah was in a strategy meeting with her senior officers. The intercepted communications had revealed not only the invasion plans, but also a network of Kregorian spies and sympathizers spread across the galaxy. Commander Hayes, what's our current status? Sarah asked, looking at the tactical display. Captain, we've increased patrols along the borders of Kregorian space. Our intelligence teams are working round the clock to identify and neutralize any remaining threats. However, we've received reports of increased pirate activity in the outer sectors. It seems like some factions are trying to take advantage of the situation, Commander Hayes reported. Sarah nodded, her mind working through the implications. We need to ensure that our allies are protected. If the Kregorians can't strike directly, they might use proxies to destabilize us. As the meeting continued, a communication alert flashed on Sarah's console. It was from Ilara, the Lyran moderator of the Galactic Council. Captain Carter, I have urgent news. Ilara's serene voice filled the room. Sailor has escaped custody. We believe he had help from within the Council's security forces. His whereabouts are currently unknown. Sarah's eyes narrowed. Thank you, Ilara. We will begin our search immediately. Carter out. Turning to her officers, Sarah's voice was firm. Sailor is on the loose. We need to find him before he can rally his forces. Prepare the fleet for immediate deployment. Set course for the last known location of his loyalists. The Aegis and its escort ships surged into action, engines roaring as they made their way to the outer sectors. The search for Sailor was on. Weeks passed, and the search was arduous. The Kregorian loyalists were skilled at evasion, and the galaxy's fringes were vast and unforgiving. But humanity's tenacity and ingenuity began to pay off. Piece by piece, they dismantled the network of spies and saboteurs, drawing closer to Xelor's hideout. In a remote asteroid field, the fleet finally picked up a faint signal. It was a Kregorian transmission, heavily encrypted but unmistakable. Sarah ordered the fleet to approach with caution. As they neared the asteroid field, sensors picked up multiple ships, a hidden Kregorian base. The Aegis went to battle stations, and Sarah addressed her crew. This is it, everyone. Sailor is here. We need to capture him and dismantle this base. Stay sharp and work together. We cannot let him escape again. The battle that followed was intense. The Kregorians, desperate and cornered, fought fiercely, but the United Earth Fleet was prepared. Tactical maneuvers and superior coordination turned the tide in humanity's favor. On the bridge of the Aegis, Sarah directed the battle with precision. Target their command ship. We need Senna alive. The fleet's focused fire disabled the Kregorian command ship's engines. Boarding parties, led by elite Marines, stormed the vessel. Amid the chaos of the battle, Sarah joined the boarding team, her resolve unwavering. Inside the Kregorian command ship, The corridors were a war zone. Sarah and her team pushed forward, cutting through the resistance. They finally reached the command center, where Xiller and his remaining loyalists made their last stand. Xiller, towering and imposing, glared at Sarah. "You're persistent, human, but this ends here." Sarah raised her weapon, her eyes cold and determined. "Surrender, Xiller. Your plans have failed." With a roar, Xiller lunged at her. The fight was brutal, a clash of raw strength against human agility and determination. Sarah's training and experience gave her the edge. She dodged Xiller's wild swings and delivered precise strikes, finally disarming and subduing him. As Xiller lay restrained, he spat words of defiance. "You may have won today, but you will never break the Krygorian spirit." Sarah looked down at him, her expression resolute. "We don't need to break your spirit, Xiller. We just need to ensure you never have the chance to harm anyone again." With Xiller captured, the Krygorian threat diminished. The Galactic Council commended the United Earth Fleet for their decisive action. Peace, though still fragile, had been given a chance to take root once more. Sarah Carter returned to the Aegis, her mission complete, but her vigilance undiminished. She knew that in a galaxy full of diverse and ambitious species, humanity's place would always be hard-earned and fiercely defended. As she looked out into the stars, she felt a profound sense of purpose. "You don't want to cross a human," she thought, a small smile playing on her lips. And now the galaxy knew it too. The galaxy, though momentarily quiet, still held the whispers of turmoil and unrest. Captain Sarah Carter and her crew aboard the Aegis remained vigilant. With Xiller captured and his base dismantled, the immediate threat had been neutralized, but new challenges always lurked in the shadows. Weeks after Xiller's capture, Sarah was called to a secretive meeting on the planet Lyra. Ilara, the Lyran moderator, had requested her presence to discuss sensitive matters. Sarah arrived at the serene and lush Lyran capital, where Ilara awaited her in a private chamber. "Captain Carter," Ilara greeted warmly, her calm demeanor contrasting the urgency in her eyes. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." Sarah inclined her head. "It's my duty. What's the situation?" Ilara motioned for Sarah to sit. "We have received intelligence that remnants of Xiller's faction are regrouping. They are led by a new, unknown figure who calls themselves the Phoenix. This leader has been rallying disillusioned Krygorians and other malcontents. We believe they aim to incite a larger conflict." Sarah's brow furrowed. "Do we have any leads on the Phoenix identity or location?" Ilara nodded, a holographic map appearing between them. "Our agents have intercepted transmissions suggesting that the Phoenix is operating from a hidden base on the rogue planet Valter. This planet is a haven for outlaws, making it a dangerous and unpredictable environment." Sarah studied the map. "We'll need to move quickly and decisively. I'll assemble a team and head to Valter immediately." Ilara placed a hand on Sarah's arm. "Be careful, Captain. The Phoenix is cunning and resourceful. This mission will be perilous." Back on the Aegis, Sarah briefed her crew on their new mission. "We're heading to Valter to dismantle this new threat before it gains momentum. Prepare for departure." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, the stars stretching into long lines as they hurtled toward Valter. The rogue planet was a chaotic place, its surface a mix of sprawling cities and lawless wastelands. The Aegis navigated through the debris fields and space junk that orbited the planet, finally reaching a secluded landing zone. Sarah led a team of her best soldiers onto the planet's surface. They moved through the shadows, avoiding the eyes of the numerous criminal factions that ruled Valter. Their destination was a hidden bunker, rumored to be the Phoenix stronghold. As they approached the bunker, Sarah signaled her team to halt. "Stay sharp. We don't know what kind of defenses they have in place." The team advanced cautiously, using scanners to detect any hidden traps or surveillance. They reached the entrance without incident, and Sarah activated a small device that emitted a pulse, disabling the electronic lock. Inside, the bunker was a labyrinth of narrow corridors and dimly lit rooms. They encountered pockets of resistance, but the team's superior training and coordination allowed them to advance steadily. They finally reached a central chamber where the Phoenix awaited. Clad in dark, sleek armor, the figure was flanked by loyal guards. The Phoenix's voice, distorted by a modulator, filled the room. "Captain Carter, I've been expecting you." Sarah stepped forward, her weapon trained on the enigmatic leader. "This ends now. Surrender, and no one else has to get hurt." The Phoenix chuckled, a cold, mechanical sound. "You are brave, but misguided. The galaxy is a place of chaos, and order can only be restored through strength and fear." Sarah's eyes hardened. "Strength without justice is tyranny. We will not allow you to plunge the galaxy into war." The battle erupted with sudden ferocity. Sarah and her team engaged the Phoenix's guards in a fierce firefight. Laser blasts and energy shields clashed in a dazzling display of light and sound. Sarah moved with precision, her training and instincts guiding her through the chaos. As the last of the Phoenix's guards fell, the leader themselves charged at Sarah, wielding an energy blade. Their duel was intense, the hum of the blade contrasting with the crackle of Sarah's energy shield. They traded blows, each one testing the other's resolve. In a swift, decisive move, Sarah disarmed the Phoenix, the energy blade clattering to the floor. She held her weapon steady, her gaze unwavering. "It's over. Remove your helmet." The Phoenix hesitated, then slowly complied. The helmet hissed and lifted away, revealing a familiar face, one of the Kragorian generals who had escaped during Sarah's initial capture. "You," Sarah breathed. "You were Sarah's right hand." The general sneered. Sarah was a fool. His methods were too crude. "But you will see, Captain. You will see the truth in our cause." Sarah shook her head. "Your cause is built on fear and oppression. The galaxy deserves better." With the Phoenix in custody, the team secured the bunker. The captured general was brought before the Galactic Council, where their plans and crimes were laid bare. The council commended Sarah and her team for their bravery and skill, acknowledging that humanity's presence was a force for stability and justice in the galaxy. Back aboard the Aegis, Sarah looked out at the stars once more. Each victory was a step toward a safer galaxy, but she knew the fight for peace was ongoing. Yet, with every challenge, humanity proved that it was a force to be reckoned with. And now, more than ever, the galaxy understood the truth. You don't want to cross a human. The capture of the Phoenix had struck a significant blow to the remnants of Sarah's faction, but Captain Sarah Carter and her crew aboard the Aegis knew that the fight for stability was far from over. As they returned to their patrols, they remained ever vigilant, prepared for any threat that might arise. A few months after the mission on Valter, Sarah received a priority communication from Elara. The holographic image of the Lyrid moderator flickered into view on the bridge of the Aegis. "Captain Carter," Elara began, her voice tinged with urgency. "We have received credible intelligence that a coalition of rogue factions is planning a coordinated attack on the Galactic Council itself. Their goal is to destabilize the central governance and plunge the galaxy into chaos." Sarah's expression hardened. "Do we know who is leading this coalition?" Elara nodded. "It appears to be a Kragorian warlord named Draxis. He was one of Sailor's most trusted generals, and he has managed to rally various disaffected groups under his banner. We can't let this happen. Sailor said firmly, "We need to strike first and dismantle this coalition before they can execute their plan." Elara looked at her with gratitude. "I knew we could count on you, Captain. The Council's resources are at your disposal. May the stars guide you." Sarah turned to her crew, determination etched on her face. "Set a course for the Krygorian border. We need to locate Draxus's base of operations and put an end to this threat." The Aegis and its fleet moved swiftly, traveling through hyperspace to the edge of Krygorian space. The region was fraught with danger, but Sarah's resolve never wavered. Intelligence reports and intercepted communications led them to a hidden fortress deep within a nebula where Draxus was amassing his forces. As they approached the nebula, Sarah called a final briefing with her senior officers. "This mission will be our most challenging yet. Draxus is a cunning and ruthless leader, and he will not go down without a fight. But we have faced worse and emerged victorious. We will succeed." The fleet moved into position, and Sarah's voice rang out over the comms. "All units, prepare for engagement. Our primary objective is to capture Draxus and dismantle his command structure. Let's move out." The battle began with a ferocity that shook the very fabric of space. Draxus's forces were well prepared, their ships emerging from the nebula in tight formations. The Aegis and its fleet responded with equal precision, their coordinated attacks cutting through the enemy lines. On the bridge of the Aegis, Sarah directed the battle with calm efficiency. "Target their command ships. We need to disrupt their coordination." The fleet's firepower concentrated on the largest of Draxus's vessels. Explosions rocked the enemy ships, creating openings for boarding parties. Sarah led one of these teams, determined to confront Draxus personally. Inside the enemy flagship, the corridors were a maelstrom of combat. Sarah and her team fought their way through, reaching the heart of the ship where Draxus awaited. The Krygorian warlord was a hulking figure, his eyes burning with a mix of rage and determination. "Captain Carter," Draxus growled, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You've been a thorn in our side for too long." Sarah raised her weapon, her stance unyielding. "This ends now, Draxus. Surrender, and we will show mercy." Draxus laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Mercy? There is no mercy in war, human. Only victory and defeat." With a roar, Draxus charged at Sarah, wielding a massive energy axe. The clash was brutal, sparks flying as their weapons met. Sarah's agility and precision allowed her to evade Draxus's powerful strikes, landing blows that chipped away at his defenses. The battle raged on, the sounds of combat echoing through the flagship. Sarah's team fought valiantly, holding off Draxus's guards and ensuring their captain had the space she needed. Finally, with a deft maneuver, Sarah disarmed Draxus, her blade at his throat. "It's over," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Order your forces to stand down." Draxus glared at her, defiance in his eyes. But he saw the determination in Sarah's gaze and knew he was beaten. With a begrudging nod, he signaled his forces to cease fighting. The capture of Draxus marked a turning point. The coalition of rogue factions crumbled without their leader, and the threat to the Galactic Council was neutralized. The Council commended the United Earth Fleet once more, recognizing humanity's pivotal role in preserving galactic peace. Back aboard the Aegis, Sarah stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and filled with countless challenges, but she knew that humanity had proven its worth time and again. Their place among the stars was secure, not through conquest or domination, but through courage, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of justice. As the ship sailed through the endless expanse of space, a sense of quiet resolve settled over Sarah. The galaxy now understood a fundamental truth. You don't want to cross a human. And as long as there were threats to peace and stability, she and her crew would be ready to face them, standing as a beacon of hope and strength in the vast cosmic night.